And I totally get it, guys. Like, I'm on the same path as you. Like, every time I go to the supermarket now, I have to look at, I went to Bunnings, right? Like I said, 3 times. And I look at the receipt. I'm like, what just cost me $200? I don't have much in my trolley.
Yeah.
And I had to do a double take. Things that used to cost maybe like $5 to $10 are now $25.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I had to go dig up all my plants, right? I'd spent all this time and effort in my old house doing up the garden, and I put in like all these hydrangeas and stuff. And I thought to myself, that was a considerable cost. I'm not going to leave them there because it's like thousands of dollars of plants. So I went to Bunnings, bought the pots, and I was like, I'll dig them up. And I thought, I'm going to be in the garden on my knees all day. I'm already sore from moving house. I'm going to buy one of those knee pad things, right? Just to save my knees. I swear, I must have misread, but I swear it said $10. And so I was like, oh yeah, $10, whatever. Went through the checkout and it was $30 or something. And it's nothing. It's a cushion. It's $30.
Yeah.
The pots, they're just plastic pots. There's nothing remarkable about them. Each one was $6, $7. And so before long, you start realizing, it's adding up. So you think about the average person when they're going to the groceries, when they're paying for their utilities, when they're doing those like little recreational trips to whether it's Bunnings or Kmart. How much that expenditure has increased and how little surplus cash is now available. So on top of that, as I was saying, I recently just did a video on Adrian Bortelli. Now, he's a polarizing figure, and I don't understand why. I see the hate and I read the hate. And what it seems like to me, and this is the correlation I wanted to make, is that Australians can sense economic hard times, right? Like they understand that, it can be really difficult. Yet when they see someone doing well, they resent it. And then they call him, a grifter. He's built a Ponzi scheme. Like some of the comments to Adrian on my content were horrendous, like incredibly nasty. And there's this weird like dichotomy in Australia where we want to see success. We don't want to be poor. We want to no longer be the Aussie battler. But yet when someone else does it, we don't want to let that crab out of the bucket. Like, no. You got 2 big V boots, right? That's that whole
come back down here. So this is rooted in Malthusian thinking. So Malthus wrote a book, and he was essentially a preacher of this idea of scarcity. And scarcity is real. Scarcity is a thing. But what he preached essentially was that there was very much a fixed pie, and all we were ever going to do is redistribute who has how much of what pie. Out of his thinking came a book called The Population Bomb by Paul Ehrlich. It was published in the 60s, I think, the first time. And I think the original version was predicting massive famine if the world's population hit like 2 billion people or something like that, because there weren't enough resources to go around. And then all of a sudden we're at 8 billion, and actually we're feeding ourselves better than ever before. As a percentage of the population, we have the lowest levels of poverty in human history. More people have food, more people have clean water, more people have clothing, more people have shelter than ever before, even though we have more people. And so there's something else at work here. And of course, the reality, if you understand Austrian economics, if you understand how the world really works, you realize that value is being created and destroyed all of the time. And so it doesn't matter how many people you have. What matters is, are those people on average creating more than they consume, or are they consuming more than they create? And if everyone on average is creating more than we consume, then the world's getting richer, and we're going to leave a better heritage to our kids than what we got from our own parents. And so then we need to add another layer to that. People have this picture. So even people that have put that aside and they recognize that someone can be rich without them having taken it from somebody else. Someone being rich is not the reason someone else is poor. That would be true if there was a fixed amount of wealth in the world, but if there's not, you can invent wealth. You can create it out of nowhere. But people still get stuck when it comes to actual money, because there is, at any given moment in time, there is a finite amount of money in the world. And so it's being created and destroyed all the time as well. And obviously the amount of money is growing very rapidly because governments are creating it through debt on housing mostly. But the amount of money in the world at any given instant, the amount of money is fixed. And so it would be very easy to tell yourself, well, therefore a billionaire, Elon Musk going to be the world's first trillionaire. He's got all the money. People have this picture of Scrooge McDuck diving into a silo full of coins and so forth. The reality is the vast majority of wealth is not held in cash. It's held in assets. It might be in property. It might be in shares. It might be in precious metals. It might be in all sorts of other things. A wealthy person that's sitting there with $1 billion cash is an idiot, because the value in that cash is inflating away at least a few percent every single year. They're going to work really hard to try and put that money to work doing something. So there's this funny thing that happens. Let's say someone does really well and they go, right, I want to renovate my house. I'm going to do a big renovation, big new pool, beautiful new landscape, all the rest of it. And then some other person walks past and goes, well, they could have given that money away. Well, hang on. They did give that money away. They gave it away to the builder and the architect and the pool guy and the landscaper and the guy that supplies crushed rock, etc. They gave all that money away. They're not holding on to the cash, but what they did was they exchanged it for an asset of equal value. So they haven't actually used any of the world's money. They haven't destroyed any wealth by doing that. All they did was exchange the cash wealth that they had with a real estate wealth. And now that cash is in the hands of other people who can then go on and do other things with it. So we've got to break these shackles. And especially as we head into hard times, we've got to break these shackles and start to see money differently. Money is a language. It's a way of communicating with each other and expressing to each other our thanks and our appreciation, our gratitude. Oh, you've offered me something that I like, that I want. I'm going to give you some of my money in return for that thing. And for as long as exchange is voluntary, then that is a really, really good thing. That is actually the best thing that we could possibly do. Hard times don't affect everyone the same at the same time. And it is not selfish for you to think about your circumstances and to make decisions that are going to minimize the hardness of the times ahead for you. And in fact, I would suggest, especially if you have kids, you have a moral obligation to be thinking about, what can I do with integrity, not with deception, but with integrity? What can I do to improve my situation, to minimize the impact of the hard times ahead on my family?
Yeah. I want to touch on this response here, and I'm going to disappoint a couple of people in the chat who seem to agree with Steve and say, this is flat out the Aussie attitude I just want to eradicate. Like this blanket statement of people get rich by underpaying their workers and overcharging their customers. So that's everyone. Everyone that's ever accumulated wealth has done so through some kind of nefarious means. Like there's no such thing as talent. There's no such thing as hard work. There's no such thing as anyone that's actually put in a little bit more effort than maybe you, Steve. I'm sorry. Like I don't care what your attitude is to this. This is a really crappy mindset. Not for me. It doesn't impact me. It's for you. If you think that everyone out there got where they are and their wealth because they underpaid their staff and they overcharged customers, I feel really sorry for you, Steve, and anyone that agrees with him. If that's the way that you view the world, go.
Yeah. Can I make a comment on this? So there's a really good illustration that gets used. I'm not the one that invented this. I heard it somewhere that gets used about the value of a worker. So workers are very quick to sit there and say, well, I'm worth more than what I get paid. And I can remember when my brother was doing computer programming, he was only a teenager, and he brought on another computer programmer, and she had a massive chip on her shoulder against her former boss, because this is ages ago. Her former boss would charge her out at $80 an hour, and she only got paid $25 an hour. And she had a real problem with that. Yeah. And I said to her, hey, how about you just go out on your own then, go and freelance, and you can charge $80 an hour. And her reply was, oh, but no one's going to pay me $80 an hour. I said, well, what do you mean? You said you're worth that. She said, oh, no, that's, they want to do business with a business where there's a helpline that gets answered 24 hours a day. And if there's a problem, then it gets fixed really quickly. I just want to do my 40 hours and go home. I said, okay, so they're not, the value that they're paying $80 an hour for isn't actually you. It's the fact that your boss makes sure that there is a version of you available at any given moment in time, no matter when they call. Now, the example that economists give is someone who's doing valet parking. Right? So you show up, you get a job doing valet parking. The venue has created the attraction. The reason why people actually come to that venue is because they're a casino or they're a hotel or they're a events venue. There's a reason why people want to come there. They provide you with the uniform that gives people confidence that you've been trained, that you're insured if you crash their car, all of those things. You're getting paid, let's say, $40 an hour. The thing is, every single person that valet parks their car is paying $50, and you park 10 cars an hour. You're sitting there going, I'm making this company $500 an hour. I'm only getting paid $40 an hour. I'm getting ripped off. Okay, we can test this theory. Go and put on your best suit, your best clothing, and go door knocking and ask how many people are willing to pay you $50 to park their car. The answer is get off my lawn, you freak. That's the answer that you'll get. You go to the supermarket and try and valet park for people at the supermarket. No, F off. Who are you, you weirdo? That's the response you're going to get. So actually the $500 an hour isn't actually being made by you as the person who's doing the parking of the car. The $500 an hour is being made by the establishment that has created an ecosystem in which people want to have their car valet parked. Right. And you as the cog in that machine, you are only worth your replacement cost. You're only worth what it costs to replace you as a cog in that machine. Now, this is not demeaning. People go, oh, you're demeaning my value as a human being. No. This is reality. This is literally how it works. And it's a good thing. When you actually grasp it and comprehend this reality, you realize this is incredibly empowering and incredibly freeing. But you've just got to accept that you are worth what it costs to replace you. And as a worker, most of the reason why you are valuable is not actually you. It's the context in which your employer put you. It's the machinery that you operate that they spent a fortune on. It's the client base that they've built up to sell the product that you make to. It's whatever systems they've got in place. The business is the machine. And you're literally being paid to be a piece inside of that machine. The value is in the machine itself.
Hey guys, thanks for watching another short clip from The Oddcast. If you want to watch the full video, it's over on YouTube at The Oddcast HQ, and you can see more from me and Topher over there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep up with us in the comments.